Hey everybody, welcome back. It's been a while, so it's been actually a few days. I don't know about a while, but I'm ready to kind of get you all going with some updates and some new information. I've updated, I've gotten some new advice, some more advice, speaking with colleagues and taking seminars and webinars and all kinds of stuff. And I'll tell you, this stuff is still just as confusing and clear as mud as it was when I started making the videos. However, there's more of a consensus building around certain methodologies. And I think the methodology that I logically put together a while back, months ago, seems to be the correct methodology. So I feel good about that, because there's nothing worse than feeling like you're the smartest guy in the room ever, because I've never been that kind of person. But this is kind of putting us in a situation where we have to start figuring some things out ASAP. So I wanted to get that. So what we're going to cover today is the gross receipts test a little bit. We're going to go through another 941 example for the fourth quarter 2020. We're going to do I'm going to discuss the ordering rules. What does that mean? It means we have the employee retention credit. We have the sick and family pay credit. And then we also have the PPP forgiveness issue. How are we going to coordinate all this? What is the best approach? There's still absolutely no guidance, concrete guidance from the IRS on coordinating all these. Many practitioners are deciding to just wait till there's more guidance. The problem is that we just don't know when that's going to be. And I've been hearing from clients, actually, have been telling me they've been sending in some 941s X's already, and they called the IRS, and the IRS said that they're stacking up behind them because they don't even know what the guidelines are for reviewing all these. So, I think you're kind of damned if you do and you're damned if you don't, because if you wait too long, the IRS is going to have mountains of paperwork to get through. If we get this in sooner than later, at least there's a hope and a chance that they'll process it and not look too deeply into it. Not saying that this is wrong or anything like that, but we just really don't know what their protocols are for processing. So I'm going to cover that, go through a detailed example, and then also going to do the 7200 for January 2021. So we're going to go through that because that's due next week, by next week, I should say, by the end of the month. So that new 7200 is available. And again, all these things are stacking up. Everyone's overwhelmed. We're in the middle of tax season. I'm overwhelmed myself. So people think I'm crazy for doing these videos. But I did want to mention something about that. And it's interesting talking about being overwhelmed and crazy. Last night, my wife woke me up. She shook me and she said that I was talking in my sleep and I was talking about the credits. I said something about, no, it's all right. Everyone's doing it wrong. It's fine. I got it figured out, which of course I don't have it figured out, but in my sleep, I must have been saying that. But this is how much it's affecting people and everybody, especially practitioners, that you're literally having a nightmare. So I thanked her so much for waking me up from that nightmare and just reminding me how much I love her. And just remember, love your spouse, love your partner, love your kids, but most importantly is you got to love yourself, and we'll all get through this if we keep that in mind and show some love out there. There's another thing, basic housekeeping. So I've been thinking about these videos. What am I doing? I've had this channel forever, and this is a mini commercial. I'm sorry, but just stay with me on it. So what am I doing with these videos? I've been doing this really more or less to offer advice to my existing clients. And sometimes it's just easier to go through these explanations. And then I decided when this thing hit to just go out there and start, cataloging, what I'm doing and sharing it with as many people as possible, because there's a lot of money out there. I can't do all this work. So if you have a practitioner that's going to benefit from this, that's great. Pass it along to your friends, your colleagues, your other practitioners, your other customers, yourself, whatever. But one of the things that I figured out, I realized, is there's so many technical questions in the Q&A. I would love to answer them on a more regular basis. And I try and almost answer them right away, but it's now with tax season, it's going to be more difficult. And I know that I'm going to be getting a lot more technical questions after this video. But what I've done is I was thinking about it, and I'm not going to, me growing to 1 million subscriber or even 1,000, I'm at 650, which is so wonderful. And I thank you all for that. But me growing this channel, me even thinking about growing it and getting advertising dollars, and it's so much for me to even think about. I do this really naturally. I don't overproduce. There's no overproduction. I do, nothing I'm doing here is any different than what I do when I see my clients. So in that respect, so I was thinking, well, what can I do to kind of cover my time a little bit and also support this process too? And I want to help everybody. So one of the things I've done is I set up a newsletter subscription system on my website, and it's $8 a month. Okay. You don't have to do this, but what I need to do is start actually, I want to send people spreadsheets. I want to send people all this information that they've been asking for. The problem is I just don't have the time. And so one of the systems where I can do that is through my website, getting you on a contact list so that I can get you that information through a newsletter. And that's what I want to do. And I'm also going to be providing monthly bulletins, a lot of different written content, not just the video content, where I'm going to share various tax law changes, accounting tips, tax tips, personal financial planning tips, things like that. There's a whole breadth of things that I do here that I don't share with everybody. I'm just right now focusing on in this narrow little area of the tax credits for 2021. But so that newsletter is going to be designed around that. So it's $8 a month. That's where you're going to get my references in terms of where I find the research and all these other things that will benefit you. Spreadsheet analysis, all my spreadsheets, PDFs when I find them. That's the best way I can reach out to everybody, and it's extremely low fee. To be honest, I mean, $8 is still $8, but I'm just trying to find a way to cover my time and cover some of the expense for doing this while also sharing all this information. So check out my website, opsaccounting.com, and you go to the pricing page and you'll see it for $8 a month. So keep that in mind. All right, so let me go ahead and present now. And let's just get it. Sorry for that mini commercial, but I'm going to do another one just for the existing subscribers as well. So that they also get this information more directly, and I'll expand on that too. All right, so for everyone that's been following me, you all remember this, don't you? So this is the spreadsheet I've been working on and modifying and creating, and it's always a work in process. So nothing is ever necessarily complete, so to speak. So let's go through this one more time again. All right. We're going to amend. This example is going to be on amending 4Q 2020. Okay. So the period that we just got through. All right. And a couple of great comments. I really appreciate it. Someone noticed I had the pay frequency wrong, and I also had the wages wrong because it was based on 50,000 salary. So thank you. Whoever that was, I appreciate it. I did make that adjustment. I think I've covered everything here. So basically what we have are Ann, Joe, and John, all right? And this is a summary of their monthly. They get paid monthly. Let's just say they're salespeople that get paid commission or something flat until they get commission. Just to keep things very simple. We have Ann makes 50,000, and then they also get health insurance. And let's just say that they all get the same premiums. We're keeping things simple. They all get the same premiums. So the gross wages for the quarter are $30,000. Okay. Now I'm going to go to the assumptions, and the average salary is $10,000 a month, right? If you filled out the PPP loan properly, which a lot of people didn't, a lot of bankers made a mistake and they lent too much than what they were eligible for. They lent more than what the client was eligible for. But let's just say we did it right and we got 2.5 times our average monthly payroll. So our PPP funds are going to be $25,000. Let's say we borrowed $25,000. For the forgiveness, we know already that at least 60% of that $25,000 has to be related to payroll. So I'm going to just take this methodology and apply it to the calculations so that we can both fall into the safe harbor area for PPP forgiveness while also, making ourselves eligible for the ERTC. So let's say on a monthly, so that basically it's 6 months. I'm just, round numbers, 24-week recovery period. And so our monthly utilization is 2,500. Okay. And quarterly, it's going to be 7,500. So we have a ways to go there, right? So what we have here are gross wages, and then the PPP on a monthly is going to be, this is what we're going to be reducing the wages by on a monthly basis for the PPP amount that we just talked about. And then we're going to add, because we talked about this and I talked about this in previous videos, we're going to add the qualified group plan benefits. Again, I'm just bypassing all the language out there. I'm not going to rehash all the legislative stuff that I've already covered in previous videos, and that's readily available out there on FAQs on irs.gov. So I would, caution you, go to irs.gov and look at all those sources and just Google search, COVID-19, employee retention credit, PPP loan forgiveness. There's over 100 FAQs in almost each category. So just wanted to recap that. So now we have our wages, our eligible ERC wages, 10,000 minus the PPP loan we're going to reduce, plus the qualified health, gives us ERC or ERTC qualifying wages per month of 8,500. The credit is obviously 50% of that in 2020. And this is what it is on a quarterly basis. So that times 3. So these are our assumptions. We figured that out. If you had qualified sick pay, you cannot take the qualified family or sick pay leave credit and the ERC at the same time. So you have to reduce the ERC qualified wages again by the sick leave pay that you gave your employees. So you would just simply add another line item here and reduce it because that's a separate credit on the 941. Okay, so it's not that complicated. I know there were some questions about that, and can you do another example? And I certainly can, and I probably will. But I just really want to focus on the real nuts and bolts of the PPP forgiveness and ERTC. But you simply just, instead of for group health, we're adding 1,000. You're just going to add another line item for the amount of the qualified wages, and in that case, it actually would probably be by employee. So then you're going to have to probably just do a separate, column in here to reduce the qualified leave, sick leave wages here that you paid out. So you just simply add another column and it would be a minus to get to your total ERC wages. All right, so that was, just quick point there. All right, so we have our assumptions, we're good to go. And then I just kind of recap my assumptions up here. Some of them are, you could see I refer back to the assumptions page on some of this. Some of this is just, just more information and just me just keying in information as I build out the spreadsheet. So what do we have now? We have ERC. So this is Ann's October payroll, $4,500, which is 4,166 plus 333 is 4,500. She's eligible for the 2,250, 50% of that. What's left? Well, we already said that we already calculated our 8,500 per employee and eligible ERTC wages. So she has 4,000 left. In this case, her wages are 4,500, but we're only going to use the remaining wages. So you have to keep an eye on that. Sometimes you have to play around with a spreadsheet to just pay attention to what's remaining and what the eligible wages, what the total wages are versus the remaining wages. Okay. Same thing with Joe. We have here, and you just kind of follow it down. You could see here, obviously, this is where he only has 1166 left after applying, the remaining ERC wages. So we're just going to go ahead and drop in the 116667 there. And in this case, for John hit it right on the head. I didn't even, this was just by luck that these numbers fell into place like that. So, he's got 0 left for the quarter there as well. So we have total, again, these tie out to my assumptions page. So that's the double check. And now where do these go on the 941? All right. So sorry, I should have blown this up a little bit more. Here's the 941 now. We have 30,000 wages. And by the way, most of the details over here, because I have I calculated estimated withholding on everybody, federal withholding, FICA, Medicare, state, blah, blah, blah. So we have 30,000 there. We have, this is the formula driven by, where it's at back to the right. FICA is the FICA times 2, Medicare times 2. We already paid 9,090, which is that total. It's already paid. Qualifying wages for ERC, 25,500. You get 50% of the FICA as the non-refundable portion. I think I covered that. And I kind of have 2 columns here to kind of show where these numbers go on each respective form. So we have the non-refundable 1860. The refundable is a difference between the total ERC credit and the non-refundable, giving us a refund due of 12,750. All right. So that's the way it's going to go. That's the way it looks like. So let's go to the 941x, because I know everyone's, how do you, what are you going to do with the 941? And there's some things that I've discovered on the 941x that, oh gosh, my computer melted down on me. So let me go ahead and I had to restart some of these things. Apologize for the pause here. There we go. Okay, and that I'll get to that 7,200 in a second. So now we're at the 941. You're going to fill it out, 941, October 2020, Acme Corp, North Pole. We're in Chiberia, Illinois. Well, we call it that, I guess. So we're going to make a claim. Here's the part that's still driving me insane. There's literally nobody out there knows how to fill out part 2. I have sent out part 2 answering. First of all, question 3 and 4 don't apply because we're asking for money back. And I certify, corrected, blah, blah, blah. So if you checked line 2 because you're claiming a refund or reporter, please check the box. You must check at least one box, folks. Well, guess what? None of these boxes relate to the ERC. None of them. And the ones I struggle with the most are C and D. Okay, well, because, if they say you must check one, your software, by the way, if you're using a software, will not let you go to the next step unless you check one of these boxes. So what are your options? Do you just print this out manually, just go to a form filler, or just use the PDF fillable portion from the IRS? That's a good question. I actually think based on, some information and some other leaders doing this, and they did not check a box. So I don't know. I mean, is it claim is for federal income tax, Social Security, Medicare, or additional that I didn't withhold from employee wages? Maybe. That was my logical assumption earlier because we didn't withhold it. There's no withholding that we're asking for. So I guess worst comes to worst, you check D. But I'm actually considering not checking them off at all at this point. That's just going to be a gut decision you're going to have to make. All right. So then what happens? What do you do now? there's only 2 boxes to fill out, 18 and 26. We already determined from the spreadsheet that the non-refundable was 1860. It's a negative, by the way, because it's a credit. Some people fill this out without the negative sign here and fill out the negative sign there. I kind of want my signs to be, correct and consistent across. So this is what it's going to be. Combined, blah, blah, blah. Less than 0, if you check, you want apply to 941 for tax paid. If more than 0, that's the amount you owe. So that's why it has to be negative. It's less than 0. Okay. And let's see, a line box wants apply to credit 941 for which you're filing this form if you're already filed. You want to apply to your, if line 27 is 0. Oh yeah, that's right. Sorry. If you check, that's only if you check box 1. Sorry. If you check box 1, it would be applied. We're going to do a claim on this one. Okay, here's another issue. Ideally, and this might be more relevant for 2021 because now we're more current with things. Ideally, it would be great because who knows when we're going to get this money? Who knows? So if you're doing all these amendments for 2020, it would be great from a strategic perspective, just keep rolling them forward to the next quarter to 4Q and then take that huge overpayment and apply that to Q1 2021. The problem is they're not processing these fast enough. So that sounds like a great strategy, and maybe that's a good strategy for 2021. But for 2020, I'm just going to go ahead for myself and probably just file the claims and just hopefully have them send us a check. So that's it for the 941X. Okay. Now I'm going to now fast forward to, let me check my outline to see where I left off, to see what I'm going to be covering. So we have that. And let's just review the 7,200 now. So let's go back to the calculator, the spreadsheet, I should say. So we're going to go back to the spreadsheet. And now we're going to just, so we did a really quick overview of the fourth quarter of the 2020 amendment process. Now let's look at the 7,200 process for January. That's due next week or by the end of the month. So same assumptions, but now we're in January of 2021. Again, and 4,000. In this one, I didn't even put the health insurance, but you could have the health insurance. See, there you go. My spreadsheets get a little bit discombobulated, but if you had the health insurance, you just add it to the total gross wages. So let's just say in this case, the company had to drop their health. I don't know. The company had to drop the health insurance. So 4166. We got Joe at 3333, and John at 2,500. Now, I mean, this is a no-brainer. So they all qualify because, again, remember, 70% up to the first 10,000 in 2021 for first quarter and for second quarter. So we have that. Now, remember the gross receipts test. Keep that in mind. So you have to be at least 80% below the prior, actually 2019 or 2021. That's another little piece of, question mark area over there. But you could use also the preceding quarter. So in this case, if you're going to determine your qualification by the preceding quarter, as long as fourth quarter 2020 was not more than 80% of fourth quarter 2019, you're good to go. The question I still have is, can you estimate the first quarter? Those are going to be, again, in future bulletins and future guidance from my part that I get from people way smarter than me. So again, but this is an easy credit. Again, I couldn't have figured that just by luck. I couldn't have done this by myself. Believe me, this is complete luck that I got 10,000 and 7,000. So they have 10,000 of wages in January, making them eligible. The total combined wages 10,000, making them eligible for the $7,000 credit. Okay, and this doesn't really apply yet. Okay, but it's good to understand this a little bit, the 941, because this is what it looks like. This gets applied. You get the 7,000, and that covers part of the taxes. It covers the taxes and refunds you the difference basically on the 941. So that's how that works really. So you're getting the full $7,000 credit. It's just how it's applied on the line items. All right, so let's go to the 7,200 now. Oops, where am I at? 7,200. Let's get that bigger for you. Oh, that's not it. That's the blank one. Okay, 7,200 Siberia. It's pretty warm today, actually. It's like 28 degrees, so we're doing better. Or spring is coming, I think, maybe by June. All right, so we have January, February, March. We're in the first quarter 2021. We fill out our information, our EIN. Obviously, I didn't fill everything out here, but you get the point. 941. Is this a business that started on or after January? We're going to assume no. Yes, whatever, if it is. The reason why this changes your gross receipts test issue, but again, then you're getting into the weeds. So amount reported on line 2 of your most recently filed 941, those are your gross wages. All right, so that's 30,000, which we just did, remember? We just did, oh, actually, that's the 941X, but we just did that. We just did a 941X and we did the calculations for it. Tax period, this is what they added. This is a new one because the new 7,200 tax period of most recently filed 941. Example, Q4 2020. Well, sure enough, that's what we're doing, Q4 2020. They also added this. If you're requesting an advance, again, you're getting more into the weeds here. This doesn't apply for literally 95% of the small businesses out there. So I wouldn't be too hung up on that. Just put the number of employees. And it's an average. Just put the number that you're comfortable putting. If you're requesting an advance on unqualified sick leave, enter the number of employees you qualified. So again, this gets into a different calculation. There's a lot more guidance on that. I'll probably be following up with that as well in a newsletter and short video. And then total retention credit, we already calculated, and that's really it, right? So 7,000, we already figured that out from our spreadsheet and our analysis. Add lines 1, 2, and 3, 1, 2, and 3, right there. Total amount, which we're assuming we didn't reduce anything. We're assuming we didn't have, we're assuming most of us have payroll service companies, whether they're big or small, many of them are online. So unless you have a practitioner or a small operation that can do these back-end calculations faster than making the federal tax deposits, then it's possible that they could have had that number to reduce and it would reduce the credit. But for most of us, we're kind of pushing forward with our payroll tax deposits. Therefore, we're kind of keeping things separate. So this is going to be the advance requested. Okay. And that's that for the 7,200. And then you're going to fax it to that number. Let's Google search that real quick. And by the way, always go to the instructions. If you have a problem trying to understand something, don't search for blogs and opinions and things like that. Go right to the instructions. If I could find them. Okay. I want to go to the actual instructions, print version. There we go. So these instructions are your friend. I know they're a little difficult to get through and read, but they help a lot because they answer a lot of the questions. So, and it's only 10 pages, so it doesn't take you that long to get through it. And then usually in the instructions, they have where to send, mail or fax. In this case, let's see what they do. I thought they had this. Oh, great. awkward pause here because the instructions don't have. Oh man. Did I miss it, people? Did I miss it? Well, now you're going to be searching with me here. You have comments, blah, blah, blah. Don't send 7200 to this address. Instead, see how to file earlier. Oh, there we go. Usually it's towards the bottom. Okay, I'm glad we found it in short order. Fax it to 855-248-0552. All right. So what does this mean? See, sign here approved roles. Don't submit duplicate 7200. So there's a lot of interesting things on these instructions. 90% really don't apply to most small businesses, but there's definitely nuances here. And, you'll want to read through the 7200, but that's it. All right, folks. I can keep talking and saying all day long. I will just want to recap a little bit on the newsletter, and I hope you really do take me up on that offer and support me and help me, because I'd love to do this and really make this a focus of my practice moving forward. And one of the things I also wanted to mention as far as future videos go is that I'm going to be doing a lot of instructional video around how to use Excel better. Most of us, including myself for a long time, really didn't use Excel to its fullest capability. Learn how to do pivot tables, how to summarize data. So you don't have to use online accounting platforms for most of us. A lot of people think you have to use these online platforms, and you don't. Social Security tax planning for S Corps. How many people, I just did one the other day. I have a client that was married and got divorced, and she didn't work because her husband was taking care of all the bills, and she didn't have to work till she was 40. And so she hasn't paid in anything. She doesn't even have the 10 years minimum, the 40 quarters that you're required to start receiving benefits. So she has a small S corp, so we're doing some Social Security tax planning there. So I'm going to do video on that. Best way to estimate your taxes for self-employed people, how to run your own payroll without software, just using EFTPS and your state portal. It's really easy. It's not that difficult, especially if you're sole owner or you have 1, 2, 3 employees and you don't want to spend $150 a month or $200 with accounting services. And I'm going to be also looking at, Zero, QuickBooks. What are good solutions outside of QuickBooks? Not that QuickBooks is one of the best programs out there, but it falls short in other areas, and I'll go into that. So there's a lot, and of course there's a lot more tax videos as well. So again, check out the website. Sorry again for the micro commercial, but I'm shamelessly self-promoting because I want to keep doing this, and I'm trying to see if I could get some interest in this. So this is where it would be on ops accounting. And, monthly financial newsletter, regular instructional videos, free spreadsheet analyzer each topic, and address your technical Q&A questions from the vlog, which is this. Okay, I think I've spent enough of your time. I will be back. Please send me notes and emails and let me know what other kind of content you want, technical stuff and whatnot, and I'll do my best to address. But I'll probably be doing 1 or 2 more videos this week as well with some updates. So thank you again. Have a great rest of your weekend, and we'll talk soon.